Welcome back, listeners, to another episode of The Snake Pit. I'm your host, Son of Bat, and tonight I'll be talking about Halloween. More specifically, I'll be talking about Rob Zombie's Halloween. Released in 2007, this is an American slasher film and ninth installment in the long-running Halloween franchise. It is the first outright remake in the franchise, but not the first timeline deviation, nor would it be the last. There are currently 13 entries in this franchise, with the most recent one being titled Halloween Ends. And for as wrong, stupid, and fucked up as those new reboot movies were, the one thing they seemed to get right was titling the last movie Halloween Ends, because that movie was so fucking garbage that, in my personal opinion, yeah, it ended the Halloween franchise. But those of you who know your horror movies and know your lore know that Michael Myers doesn't always stay down, and it wouldn't be surprised if in 5 to 10 years a whole new slew of a whole new slew of legacy sequels and reboots came out down the pike. That just seems to be how it is in the creatively bankrupt vats of Hollyweird, but I digress. What can I say about Halloween that hasn't already been said a billion times before? All over YouTube, horror blogs, magazines, podcasts. It's a very well-known and respected franchise. It is one of the titans of the OG slashers, along with Freddy, Jason, and Leatherface. It's a fucking classic. Again, I don't know what I could say that hasn't already been said. It's essentially a Halloween tradition in my house to try to watch all of these movies before Halloween or right up to Halloween. As I get older, I find I have a little less time to manage that, but I usually manage to squeeze in most, if not all of them, by the very end of October. And, even the really bad ones I tend to watch because it's only once a year you watch these, right? It's like how people watch Christmas movies, to me at least. So yeah, I can at least get some kind of enjoyment seasonally out of the really bad ones, but rarely ever do I feel good about myself after watching them. But Rob Zombie's movies, man, as much shit as they've gotten, as much shit as I've heard them catch growing up and all through the years, I've never really had a problem with these. Personally, I hold them up in high regard as some of the best ones in the entire franchise, which I know would be blasphemy to some people. But me personally, I don't really like any of the Jamie Lee Curtis ones, specifically H2O or Resurrection, or, funny enough, the new trilogy that she's in. I think all the ones she's in are kind of just treading the same water, and they're all trying to be sequels to Halloween 1, but they never hit as well. I mean, even Halloween 2 from 1981 is kind of a dumpster fire, but that still hits better than H2O and Halloween 2018, I guess you want to call it, but that's just my opinion. And the other thing is like when I rank these movies, I do it in a really weird way, and this goes for like Texas Chainsaw, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street. I tend to segregate the first movie from all the sequels because it's kind of unfair considering the first movie is always like the best one usually. And in Halloween's case, it kind of just opened the door for the slasher boom, and it really did pave the way for a lot of great movies. That being said, I don't think it's 100% impervious from criticism. Truth be told, and this is going to make some people probably have a fucking like heart attack or some shit, I don't really like the original Halloween. I think it's kind of boring. The pacing isn't the greatest. And funny enough, I think the thing that makes it as good as it is, like mostly, is the soundtrack. You take away the soundtrack, the movie doesn't really got a lot going for it. That's actually a fact, because apparently when they first screened this movie back in the day, the first one, people didn't like it until the soundtrack was added. They thought it was pretty boring. So maybe I'm more akin to the old 1978 audiences, but I don't know. There are some great scenes of suspense and shit, but to me with slasher movies, I need a mile a minute, kills, tits, chaos, you know what I mean? And I'm not retarded. I know that's not what Halloween was going for. It was trying to go for a more subtle suspense feel like Psycho, which can be great. I like slow burn movies. Some of my favorite ones are like 3.5 fucking hours, like Natural Born Killers, JFK, shit like that. But I don't know, with Halloween, it's just and speaking as of recently, because I watched it like a week ago, there was parts where I was kind of like nodding in and out, and maybe that's because I've seen this movie like maybe a couple hundred fucking times, but it's just there's parts of it that are really good and parts of it that are really fucking boring. And if you watch it on VHS, funny side note, the scenes of suspense are really good. Like the scenes of Michael Myers peering through the darkness, where you see the silhouette of his mask, or him just standing in the background. It's really good. It just looks fucking really creepy. So it definitely deserves the respect it gets. It's just for the kind of slasher fan I am, it's not one of my favorites, and it's not my go-to. And personally, some of the sequels in this franchise, I will jump to faster than I will the original movie. But that's just me. Like, I'm the kind of guy where I personally really enjoy the Thorn trilogy. Just throwing it out there. For as bad as it is, I don't know how to explain it. Part of it could be nostalgia from watching them on AMC. Those old school marathons they used to do all the time. But I really like the Thorn trilogy. I think they got a better pace. And personally, I think the best movie in the franchise is Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. Solely to the fact that, I used to be like everyone else. I thought it was the worst movie in the series. I used to fucking get so confused when it would be on AMC, because you'd get the first two movies. Sometimes they wouldn't even play the third one. They'd go to 4, 5, and then, 7 and 8. But fucking, I remember when they would play 3, I used to think the wrong movie was on, because I didn't know there's no Michael Myers. I didn't get it. But then as I got older and I realized what they were trying to do, trying to make the series an anthology, I thought it was really cool. And also, it's the only movie that really incorporates Halloween into the plot. I mean, for those of you who may know, the original Halloween was supposed to be called The Babysitter Murders, and it wasn't going to take place on Halloween, and it could theoretically take place any day of the week. Halloween 3 is the only one where it's actually integral to the plot. So as time's gone on, Halloween 3 has become my favorite one. And then right under those, I'd probably have to say the 2 Rob Zombie ones, and then the Thorn trilogy. But that's just me. I know everyone's got their own rankings and shit, but after watching 12 Michael Myers movies, I kind of get burnout, and I'm more likely to jump to the third movie or the 2 Rob Zombie ones. But anyway, I probably, if I didn't make everyone scream and seethe and leave in those first few minutes of what I had to say, and you're still sticking around, might as well jump into the plot here. Of course, Halloween 2007, directed by Rob Zombie with screenplay by Rob Zombie, based on Halloween by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, produced by Melik Akkad, Andy Gold, and Rob Zombie, starring Malcolm McDowell, Sherry Moon Zombie, Tyler Main, Scout Taylor Compton, Brad Dourif, Danielle Harris, and William Forsythe, and of course, starring Dag Farich, hope I said that right, as young Michael Myers. And shouts out to that kid. He was fucking creepy in this movie. He's still fucking creepy when you watch this movie. Really good kid actor. Usually kid actors are shit. Cinematography by Phil Parmet. Edited by Glenn Garland. Music by Tyler Bates. Production companies Dimension Films, Nightfall Productions, Spectacle Entertainment Group, and Tricanus International Films. Distributed by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer in the United States and the Weinstein Company internationally. And side note, apparently, and this is a thing with a lot of the Weinstein, Dimension Miramax horror movies, these two pudgy fucks could not stick their giant fucking noses out of everyone's business when it came to filming movies. Apparently, they'd be on set all the time, demanding shit. And if you've ever worked on a movie before, you'll know it's fucking hell on earth. Long fucking days, brutal. It is out of all the artistic fields you can be in, it's the closest one to the trades. So working on a film's a nightmare, and these two fat fucks would always show up and try to interject and change the movie. So Rob Zombie had a really, really bad relationship with these fucking idiots. I mean, not as bad as some of the women that have worked with these fucking assholes. But again, Rob Zombie really didn't like these two pieces of shit. And a big thing, and I'm going to get into this in a second, actually, the release was August 31st, 2007. These retards told him to release the movie in August. Fucking Halloween released in August. And I'm pretty sure Halloween 2, the one that came out after this in 2009, was released on August 28th. So these guys tried, and I don't know why they always do this. They always just show up and try to fuck everything up. But yeah, this is partially a Weinstein movie. So if anything bad is in this movie, it might have to do with just them, because I personally think Rob Zombie's a competent director. Some people don't like his style and shit, and I get it, but I don't think he's a bad director. I think any mistakes that were made in this movie, aside from the stunt woman who got really fucking hurt in the fall, I think it can be chalked up to a Weinstein fuck up, and that's what we should be doing. With a runtime of 110 minutes, of course, country released in the United States with a budget of $15 million and a box office return of $80.4 million. So while it did make its money back, critics hated this movie. Even John Carpenter himself didn't like this movie, which I never fucking understood. And it's not like I'm spreading gossip or rumors here. Like, I've actually seen clips of John Carpenter shitting on this fucking movie, which, again, I don't understand, because he told Rob Zombie to do this remake, but to make it his own, so to do something different with it, which he did, because the whole first half of this movie plays as an origin story, and the second half plays as a remake of the classic Halloween. So it is different. And it's not a fucking stealthy fucking, suspense movie. It's almost like an exploitation stabathon. So it is a different movie. It's only similar in title and characters. And he still goes out and shits on it because it's not the kind of movie he made. Well, and this is going to sound harsh because I do like John Carpenter's movies. He's made some fucking classics like Halloween, Christine, his involvement on Halloween 3, fucking Prince of Darkness, like the Thing. The guy's made some crazy fucking movies. Having said that, he's made some shit, not to mention he hasn't made a good movie since 1995 with In the Mouth of Madness. So when it comes to him criticizing younger up-and-coming directors or, other directors, especially with Halloween, I think he can just shut the fuck up, frankly, because he washed his hands of the franchise after the first movie, said he came back for 2 just because he wanted the money, because he felt he was owed it, and then he left and told people to do whatever they wanted with the franchise. So effectively speaking, after the first movie, it's not John Carpenter's Halloween. The first movie, yes, that is John Carpenter's Halloween, but 2 onward is not his fucking franchise. He's made it abundantly clear that he's walked away from these movies. So the fact that he constantly comes back and tries to nitpick and criticize something that isn't even his is beyond me. Like, I get it. He's probably a little butthurt that, like, it's his creation getting changed and manipulated or whatever, but you shouldn't have sold the rights to your movie if you really cared about it that hard. It's just fucking crazy. I think him and Jamie Lee Curtis are the 2 worst for this in terms of coming back and trying to, dictate how the series plays out and shit. And that's probably why I don't really like H20, Resurrection, or the 3 new movies. And again, for John Carpenter to say Rob Zombie's 2 movies were not good, or basically just to say they were shit, but then to go ahead and greenlight Danny McBride and his fucking butt buddies comedy of fucking errors trilogy and say that's the true sequel to Halloween 1 is fucking absurd to me. Like, I think the guy has honestly got dementia in his old age, and I mean this respectfully because, again, I do love his classic output of movies, but what the actual fuck, man? Sorry about that rant, ladies and gentlemen. That's just something that fucking bugs me to this day. See, with a remake, to me, a good remake is something where you can watch the original and the remake back to back and have 2 completely different experiences, but have a good time. When I watch the original one and Rob Zombie's one back to back, I see similarities, but ultimately 2 different movies, hence 2 different viewing experiences. That's why I consider this as a remake done right. If you want a 1-to-1 remake, then watch fucking Psycho and Gus Van Sant's remake, and you'll see why that should never be done. It is just absolutely pointless and fucking absurd and a waste of film to just do that. And, like, I'm glad Rob Zombie, took the extra initiative to make the first half of this movie an origin story and not just do a shot-for-shot remake, because I think it's just lazy and fucking pointless to do. And yeah, so that's my stance on that. Again, people don't really like Rob Zombie's movies, and this goes back to House of a Thousand Corpses. I mean, if you go on IMDb, the ratings for that are actually really fucking low, surprisingly. And I think it has to do with, like, his redneck characters and their vulgar dialogue, which to that I say tough shit, because Rob Zombie clearly writes from where he knows. I'm not 100%. Maybe he's from the South and shit, but maybe he's, but, like, people like this exist. I've fucking seen people like this in my life. I'm sure some of my listeners have too. These kind of hellholes exist. These kind of degenerate fucks exist. You could probably hear from my dialogue, I don't sound that far off from a Rob Zombie character. So, I mean, this shit exists. I understand why it might rub some people the wrong way. It comes off as, like, stupid or unsophisticated, but to me, it comes off as more realistic. So again, I actually am a huge fan of Rob Zombie's movies, with the exception of maybe 2 of them. I love his filmography. I love his directorial style. I do agree he does use his wife a lot, but hey, he loves the bitch, so it's good on him that they have a working relationship like that and that she clearly is amused to him. And honestly, here in Halloween, I don't think she was that bad. I think she kind of dialed it back. She's certainly better than she was in 3 from Hell. But then again, that all around wasn't... But that's a different circumstance. That wasn't a great movie, but there was many different reasons why to that. Anyway, Rob Zombie's Halloween, essentially, it plays out like the original with a few differences. Now, this one I couldn't get an exact on. Now, Wikipedia says the first half of the movie takes place in 1990, yet I've seen people say it takes place in 1978. It doesn't really help because the clothing everyone's wearing in the first half of the movie is very much 70s. I always thought the first half was in 78 and the second half was in 1993. However, some people think that the first half of the movie takes place in 1990 and the second half takes place in 2007. But for my review of this, let's just say the first half takes place in 78. So in 1978, we get introduced to the Michael Myers family. It's him, his mom, who's a stripper, played by Sherry Moon Zombie. I assume it's just some guy his wife's fucking to like help pay the bills. This guy, Ronnie, who's just like a crippled piece of shit, like drunk alcoholic white trash scumbag. There's his sister, Judith, and then his baby sister. Now, Michael's home life is a typical fucking shitstorm for a serial killer. Immediately, sympathy points are knocked off for him because he's a fucking animal-killing zoo sadist. He murders his pet rats, clearly gets abused at home by not only this Ronnie guy, but his fucking sister. The only 2 people in his life that are actually of any good to him are his mom and his baby sister. For one, because the mom is always doting on him and very loving to him, but also because the baby is an innocent and can't call him a disgusting fucking weirdo. Going back to the dialogue people don't like in this movie, for the time that it came out, there's some classic fucking zingers in this movie. I can't say them here because I'll probably get fucking demonetized or someone will say I'm saying hate speech, but like some pretty good F-bombs get thrown, and I don't mean fuck. Fuck, I'll just say there's this one scene where Michael gets caught after killing all these animals, and the guy Ronnie just looks at him, and it says, like, that is some of like the faggiest shit I have ever seen. And I couldn't help but laugh because some of the liners in this are like so funny. Like, I'm truly a product of the 2000s. Like the scene where like Junie is in the fucking bathroom and looks at Michael and he's like, oh yeah, I heard your fucking sister had to get her stomach fucking pumped because she was selling blowjobs in the bath. Like, dude, some of the fucking, it's Xbox 360 level dialogue and it's fucking hilarious. Maybe because I am a fucking degenerate and I think that shit's funny, but yeah, so Michael's at home life and at school life are shit. At school, he's getting bullied. The teachers don't seem to listen to him. However, it's being brought to his mother's attention that he is a fucking sadist, fucking murderer in the making. They find dead cats in his fucking locker and Polaroids of more dead animals, just like really sick shit. And then we get introduced to Dr. Loomis, who the first time we see him is like a school psychiatrist that comes to help try to talk to Michael's mom. Michael runs away and then he ends up dealing with his bully in one of the most brutal kills in my personal opinion. I remember this scene stuck out with me when I was a kid. Junie from Spy Kids, after talking shit about Michael's fucking bloodline, he's walking home in the woods and Michael corners him and beats the shit out of him with a fucking stick while wearing this like twisted retro clown mask. And masks are a huge motif with Michael that comes up later. But this is followed by Halloween night, where fucking Michael Myers ends up killing his entire family while the mom's out stripping for cash. He kills Ronnie by duct taping him to his fucking chair while he's passed out drunk and slitting his throat. He kills his sister's boyfriend by bashing his brains in with a fucking baseball bat. Another very brutal fucking kill. And then he goes upstairs, puts on a way too big William Shatner mask, and then stabs the shit out of his sister before, sitting on the porch with his baby sister while his mom arrives, and then the police. Then we jump to a few years later. He's in Smith's Grove Sanitarium, where Dr. Loomis is now his full-time doctor. This version of Loomis is a very, laid back man, like chill dude. He's got the long ponytail. And you can tell he really does care for Michael Myers. And the scenes with him are very interesting because you kind of get this relationship hinted at in the extended version of the original Halloween from 1978, like the made-for-TV version, where they showed some of the interactions between Loomis and Michael Myers. However, I think in the Rob Zombie movie, it's way better. You actually get to hear some of Michael's thoughts before he goes completely mute. And it's pretty tragic shit, honestly, like watching this kid just live in this fucking asylum. But you can only feel so bad for him because, again, before he killed his family or the people he's seen that has wronged him, the guy was killing innocent animals, so you don't really feel too bad. You kind of feel more bad for the mom because her whole family is wiped the fuck out. So she's going to visit Michael every week, and he's progressively getting worse. He's making more masks, and the more he wears the mask, the more he seems to regress within himself, until it gets to a point where he's almost not speaking at all. Where it all capsizes, though, is while his mom and Dr. Loomis are talking about where to go further with Michael's treatment, he's left alone in the, I guess the mess hall or like a waiting room with this nurse. And the nurse sees a picture of Michael Myers and his baby sister, and she goes, "Oh, cute baby. No way it's related to you." And then Michael stabs the shit out of her with a fucking fork, and then he completely goes catatonic. Jump 15 years later to what I would say 1992, 1993. Michael Myers is still incarcerated. However, he is a fucking behemoth. He went from a chunky little fucking kid to a 6 foot tall, like literal wrestler. Tyler Mane. He turned into fucking Tyler Mane. And he's still making masks. He's still quiet. He's got one buddy in Danny Trejo as the fucking janitor working there who calls him Little Mikey, or Mikey, I should say. But Sam Loomis, after 15, 20 years of working with him, has pretty much gotten nowhere, and he's got to leave. He's got to carry on other cases to work on, and he's got a book he's probably shelving about Michael Myers too. So he informs Michael that their sessions will be over. And, on top of this, there's a new janitor being trained one night. And this guy, and this really depends on the cut you're watching. See, I'm reviewing the unrated cut. So how Michael breaks out in my version is there's a new janitor who's going to be taking Danny Trejo's place, and he's some like redneck piece of shit, and he fucking comes in with this other fucking degenerate piece of shit, and they take a woman out of one of the cells, and they begin to like rape her, and then they take her to Michael Myers' cell for some fucking reason and rape her in there, to which they dishevel all the masks on the wall. They call him a faggot a bunch of times, try to get him to rape the chick, and then Michael just stands up and kills the two guys, and then leaves, which I don't like this scene. I think this is probably the worst scene in the whole movie. If you watch the rated cut of this movie, this is the one time where I'm going to say in a horror movie the rated version did this right over the unrated cut. In the rated version of the film, it is a prisoner transfer that's going down. Michael Myers breaks his chains, and you get to see him murder all the hospital staff and patients that are in his way. And I think it is a way better fucking scene. It fits better thematically to what's going on, because when you get this fucking rape scene, first of all, it's just a little, like, for a movie that's already over the top, it kind of just went way over the top. It really didn't need this. And again, you kind of like create this weird feeling where, what, am I supposed to sympathize with Michael Myers because he killed two worse pieces of shit than him? I mean, Michael Myers is still a piece of shit. I mean, like, this doesn't, it's a weird redeeming scene, like a scene that's made to maybe redeem him. I don't know. But it doesn't work for me. And he fought to have this scene put in the director's cut and the unrated cut. I don't know why. I think they should have kept the prison riot, or if because it just works way better. The rape scene I think is really fucking stupid, and they could have done without it. But yeah, if you can, watch the rated version, because how he breaks out of the hospital in that version is way fucking better. Version I saw, it's this mute chick who's getting assaulted. Michael kills the two orderlies. You don't see the carnage, but you see Danny Trejo coming into work, and the hospital is like deadly silent. He knows something's wrong, but he doesn't know exactly what's up. And he proceeds to get murdered by Michael Myers in a very brutal way. Again, all the kills in this movie are so fucking brutal. But you feel bad, again, for Danny Trejo, because he fucking gets drowned multiple times in a sink. And every time he gets pulled out, he's like, "I was good to you, Mikey. I was good to you." And again, you feel horrible. Oh, fuck, man, my mind's going a million places at once with this series, as you can tell. I actually skipped over a very crucial death in this series, the only suicide in the Halloween franchise. So after Michael Myers kills the nurse, a couple years before the fucking prison escape and shit, like days later, Michael Myers' mom shoots herself. And again, I think this is one of those scenes that's very sad. It's very soaked in doom. This whole movie is soaked in doom. The original movie, I'd say, is soaked in suspense and intrigue. This one's soaked in dread and doom. The scene where Deborah Myers brains herself is fucking pretty sad. And again, Sherry Moon Zombie, I think this is probably her best performance. I mean, Baby's really cool in House of a Thousand Corpses, but I think she was really good as Michael Myers' mom in this. But anyway, back forward again. After the prison riot, he makes his way to, of course, Haddonfield, where the rest of the movie plays out like a remake of the 1978 original. Obviously, it's been modernized for this 1990s 2000 aesthetic. Another point of contention and complaint people have with this movie is Laurie herself. She's more over-sexualized, and she's not as, like, frumpy. In my personal opinion, she comes off more as a teenage girl than a mopey hermaphrodite, but that's just me. And also, I never really found Jamie Lee Curtis that interesting. So again, I never had a problem with Scout Taylor Compton's portrayal of Laurie, especially in Halloween 2. I actually think it's the best portrayal in the entire franchise, specifically with survivor's guilt and trauma. She's just an annoying kid. She's just a teenager. I mean, like, teenagers are all dumb. They say dumb shit. I think the bagel scene, as cringy as it is really funny, partially because Dee Wallace's reaction is just so fucking funny. And, like, later on, they bring it up when she comes home from school, and she's like, I'm still upset about that bagel thing earlier. Like, I don't know. She wasn't horrible. Also, I remember growing up watching this movie and thinking, like, all three of the main chicks were fucking hot as shit. So that could have also been part of it. I watched the original Halloween when I was a kid, and the three main chicks, with maybe the exception of PJ Souls, didn't have any awakening for me. But I remember, like, with any Rob Zombie movie, the guy knows how to cast tits. The one exception, of course, is Danielle Harris, because for me personally, seeing her naked in this movie was really weird, because growing up watching Halloween 4 and 5 and seeing her in those and then seeing her in this, it's just weird. Like, it's like seeing, I guess, your sister naked, I'd imagine. So she's the only one that I wouldn't really say was, like, that much of a smoke show. But the other two, fucking the chick who plays Laurie and then the chick who plays Linda, I remember that. Especially the chick wearing the Slayer shirt, Linda, like, that was a fucking, for fucking 12-year-old me, that was fucking sick. But, yeah, I mean, I never had a problem with the acting. Sure, it was a little hammy and shit, but they were all good. They played teenagers, 90s suburban teenagers pretty well. Of course, Danielle Harris, who was in Halloween 4 and 5, plays Annie in this one, and her dad, Sheriff Brackett, is played by Brad Dourif. A lot of great horror cameos in this. Ken Foree plays a truck driver that Michael Myers fucking kills in a fucking faux wrestling match by the name of Joe Grizzly, bitch. And as Michael's slaughtering his way into Haddonfield, again, the typical Halloween shit plays out. Loomis tries to make it to Haddonfield, warning the doctors. They knew exactly where he's going and what left that night. Doctors are obviously played by Udo Kier and Clint Howard. Again, more horror cameos. This movie is filled with them. It's fucking awesome. And as day turns to night, Michael starts picking off Laurie's friends. However, this time around, Linda's the first one to get killed with Bob. Their kills identical to how the John Carpenter movie plays out. Still pretty sick, though. And then Annie actually, spoiler alert, doesn't die in this movie. She gets badly fucked up. Her boyfriend gets stabbed to shit and lynched with a pumpkin on his head. Laurie's fucking adoptive parents get brutalized in another really brutal kill. I've said it multiple times, but it was a brutal kill. Her adoptive parents getting killed, it was rough. I mean, the dad catches it pretty fast, but the mom gets fucked the fuck up. You get this exposition about how essentially after Michael Myers' mom killed herself, Sheriff Brackett made a deal he basically took the baby, who is Laurie, out of the house and brought her to the town over, took her off the record in hopes that she'd get adopted and taken somewhere far away. But her friend, his friend, Mr. Strode, ended up adopting the baby, taking her back to Haddonfield. And, he tells this to Sam Loomis, who he fucking hates because Sam wrote a book about fucking Michael Myers, basically blood money off the whole town. Sorry, I'm jumping around plot to plot. It is like fucking 3 in the morning right now. I'm pretty baked and there's a lot of shit I'm trying to remember. But yeah, the movie ends with, Laurie and the fucking kids babysitting just like in the classic. Funny enough, Tommy in this movie is dressed up almost identically to Bill Moseley's character Otis in House of a Thousand Corpses in the end with the red robe and the skull paint. But yeah, so like Laurie, again, she gets knocked out and taken by Michael back to the house. She wakes up captured. She fights her way out. Loomis shoots Michael 3 times. You think he's dead, and you think the movie's going to end just like the original. But no, once they're in the car, Michael smashes through, fucks up Loomis again, takes Laurie, brings her back in the house. Another fight ensues. She fights her way out, and it ends with her grabbing Loomis's 357 and fucking shooting Michael in the face. And the way she shoots him at the end, like the way the freak out was filmed right after she shoots his fucking head. Again, I love Rob Zombie's editing. It's fucking trippy. It's great. This whole movie, like with the exception of maybe, like I said, the rape scene that was completely unnecessary, and maybe like some of the ending. This movie's tight. It goes by really fucking fast. It's like got the adrenaline rush that I'm looking for in a slasher movie. Again, though, the ending in the last 10 minutes, they could have trimmed it down a bit, and I think it would have been a little tighter. But other than that, I fucking love this movie. I think it is a fun time. I think it's awesome. I think the sequel, personally, is even better. I'll probably cover that maybe tomorrow. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but maybe sooner than later because, dude, Age 2... crazy movie. Rob Zombie's Halloween, also crazy. I think it's kind of overhated in my opinion. If you want a high octane violent slasher movie, this is one of the ones you go to. Like, this is up there with Maniac in my opinion. This is up there with like House of a Thousand Corpses, surely. This is just a fucking fun, sleazy fucking movie. If you want gore, if you want fucking carnage, if you want fucking tits, if you want something to watch on Halloween, I would go with this one, man. It's fun. Like, at least with me, I watch this one and I don't leave with a headache. I leave with a good time. Like, the first thing I thought when I finished this was like, oh man, I gotta review this movie, man. This is fucking great time. And this DVD was pretty sick. I mean, you know what? The one thing about this DVD I didn't like, it didn't have the option of watching the rated cut. So what we're reviewing here is actually the 3-disc unrated collector's edition. Disc 1, of course, comes with the unrated director's cut. Disc 2 has deleted scenes with optional commentary, an alternate ending with optional commentary, bloopers, the many masks of Michael Myers, reimagining Halloween, which are featurettes, meet the cast, casting sessions, Scout Taylor Compton screen test, and a theatrical trailer. Disc 3 has Michael Lives, The Making of Halloween, which is a 4.5-hour documentary by Rob Zombie. So if you're a filmmaking fan, a Rob Zombie fan, or both, I recommend picking up this edition for specifically that disc. However, where this DVD falls short is I think that on disc 1, they could have easily had both the rated and the unrated cut of this movie. Because like I said earlier, it kind of is 2 different experiences. I personally think the way Michael Myers breaks out of the ride in the rated cut is way fucking cooler and more action-packed and fits the flow of the movie better. And it kind of just pisses me off that I don't have that as an option, which means I'm going to have to fucking look around and see if I can find the rated cut of this movie. But until then, I mean, it's not the worst thing ever, but still kind of shitty. Another thing about this movie, too, that's really awesome is the fucking poster. I mean, not on this specific DVD, but the poster in general. I was actually at a Halloween party store the other day, and they had this weird, like, flag banner poster of this movie, and it's giant. And I was, like, thinking about it, like, it was $15. I should have copped it. It was fucking sick, because looking at it right now, it's just so fucking cool. It's, like, so 2000s, so Halloween, like, orange as fuck, but like, yeah, it's also the nostalgia. I remember when this came out, I know critics didn't really fuck with it too hard, but I remember everyone on the playground liked this movie. I remember people who were horror fans, metalheads, liked this movie, and I don't know what it is. Like, it's like in the last like 10 years, again, I think it's the elevated horror crowd that has something to do with this, and their fucking letterbox smug as fuck reviews. Like, movies like Rob Zombie's Halloween or fucking Freddy vs. Jason, I'm seeing them get like these shitty condescending reviews and people talking about how they suck and they hate these movies. I was around when these came out. I'm not crazy. I remember these movies getting hype, and I remember people liking these when they came out. I think the only people who didn't like these movies when they came out, as far as I remember, were either critics who they never like horror movies to begin with, let alone remakes, and two, people who didn't like gore. But yeah, I don't remember people hate it. So it's weird when I look back and see people really hating these movies, because rewatching it now, I didn't think it was that bad. The unrated cut of Rob Zombie's Halloween, personally, out of 10, I would probably have to give that about a 9. And that has to do with the fact that I can do without the rape scene, replace it with the riot, and if you trim down the last 10 minutes to make it tighter, it would have been a perfect 10. I'd probably even rate Halloween 2 even fucking higher than this one. But the fact that this one is so low on the totem pole out of a franchise with 13 movies. And I mean, like, dude, as much as I love the Thorn trilogy, let's be honest, Halloween 5, The Return of Michael Myers, and even Halloween 6, The Curse, the producer's cut, or fucking Halloween Resurrection, or even Halloween fucking Kills and Ends, those are all dog shit. So I don't know why these two are held so low. Maybe it's because the popular thing is to bash on Rob Zombie's movies, but I never thought he was a bad director. As you've clearly seen in this video review / rant, like, I like the guy's movies. I think this one was fucking great. I think when his movies started getting bad was like, 31 wasn't great, but that wasn't his fault because that was a Kickstarter movie. Had it had a studio backing and a bigger budget and everything, I think it would have been sick. But I think the only bad movie he did was The Munsters, because that was just a PG-13 fucking slop fest for Amazon. But like, other than that, the guy makes grimy serial killer movies and he does them good. I like the fact that this iteration of Halloween went that true crime serial killer route. And you'll see with my review of Halloween 2 when that comes down the line what I mean about true crime. This one feels like if we were to split them in universes, because that's what this franchise does, I'd call the Rob Zombie Halloween movies the realistic universe. Sans the fact that Michael Myers survives a 357 shot to the face. But dude, guns do weird shit. Weird shit happens. He could have survived it in real life. You don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, Rob Zombie's Halloweens, those are the realistic ones. That's one timeline. Of course, there's the other one where it's Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, 5, 6. Then there's the timeline that's Halloween, Halloween H2O, Halloween Resurrection. Or you could do it like me where it's Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Rob Zombie, then the trilogy. There's so many ways to go with this movie. There's so many different ways to enjoy Halloween. But yeah, it's weird to me. It's always been weird to me that the Rob Zombie ones were the most disliked, when personally I think there's way worse in the franchise. I think, in all honesty, the ones that have Jamie Lee Curtis are some of the worst ones in my opinion, because they're just, like I mentioned earlier, retreads of Halloween and Halloween 2. And they're just not as good. I also don't really like her depiction of Laurie. I think it's a very boring, like, unrealistic version, because in H2O she's basically a wine mom who has an occasional nightmare, and then by the new trilogy she's basically Clint Eastwood in drag. I think, again, Rob Zombie hit the nail on the head. 17-year-old girl, family gets massacred, friends get massacred, and then by part 2 she finds out all the shit she knows. She completely mentally snaps on top of survivor's guilt. Most realistic depiction, most savage entries in this series. Dude, like, when people get stabbed in these two movies, it fucking hurts. One of the top captions on the back of this DVD says, one of the most frightening stabathons of recent years. And again, this came out in 07. Rewatching it now, dude, some of the kills hurt in this movie. The stick beating, some of the fucking stabbings, it hurts. Again, this is, I think, one of the more brutal, cruel, and nasty Halloween movies. But again, with a remake, like I've said a billion times over, you want it to be different, but you want it to be similar. The original Halloween by John Carpenter is subtlety. The Halloween remake by Rob Zombie is cruelty. Two completely different beasts, and both of them are both sick in their own fucking way. But based off how John Carpenter has, based on John Carpenter's actions and words, and how he'll take the fucking new trilogy over everything that came before it and try to disregard the fans of all those other movies, fuck him. I'd say Rob Zombie's movies are better than the 3 he greenlit recently, and that's just me. I know this went off into a bit of a rant. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. Happy Devil's Night and happy Halloween. Don't forget to light up a fat bowl, smoke a fat blunt, blow up some pumpkins, blow up a toilet. Have some fun, but don't have too much fun. Don't get into trouble, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.